Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining the webinar today on cybercrime in Canada. I'm Staff Sergeant Dawn Morris-Little. I'm a Senior Advisor with the RCMP at the National Cybercrime Coordination Centre in Ottawa. It's my pleasure to be here with you today to share this information. So let's start by narrowing down what exactly cybercrime is. For the RCMP, cybercrime is any crime where a cyber element, that is the internet or information technology such as computers and other electronic devices, holds a substantial role in the commission of the criminal offense. The RCMP then breaks it down into two categories, technology as target and technology as instrument. For technology as target, the criminal offense is targeting computers and other electronic devices, such as those involved in the unauthorized use of computers, mischief in relation to data. So using malicious software to illegally access computer systems, like hacking to steal sensitive data. Technology as instrument are criminal offenses where the internet and electronic devices are instrumental in the commission of the offense, such as those involving online fraud, money laundering, human trafficking, child exploitation, or cyberbullying. And it's everywhere. Technology is in everything that we do, and this has changed the way that we do policing. If you pay attention to the news, there are daily articles on cybercrime and cybersecurity, locally, nationally, and globally. Phishing and online scams, ransomware attacks, it's in every sector from small businesses to federal government departments. When it comes to cybercrime, sometimes in society we forget the actual impact that it has on us. A business gets hacked, ransom is demanded. The company usually feels the impact financially. What about when it's a school board or a healthcare system like we saw in Newfoundland? In this instance, then we saw scheduled surgeries were canceled and appointments were canceled and people weren't able to get chemo or other life-saving treatments. What about the people that lose their life savings to an online scam artist? We need to start considering the serious impact these types of crimes have on Canadians, on all of us. The data that you see here is RCMP files from across Canada. Cybercrime occurrences are increasing every year. We have seen an upward trend in these incidents, including a significant increase in cyber fraud. The cybercriminal landscape is rapidly evolving and adapting to new technologies, investigative techniques, and priorities, as well as being impacted by geopolitical activities. The awareness around cybercrime and how to report is increasing, which will also contribute to the steady rise in these trends. The National Cybercrime Coordination Centre, also known as the NC3, specializes in fighting cybercrime through a coordination approach. The NC3 is a national police service that serves all Canadian police agencies and cybercrime partners. We are also the RCMP's Centre of Responsibility for Cyber, and in this role, we provide national protocols and procedures as well as tools and training material for frontline officers to be better prepared to respond to cyber calls or everyday calls for service that have a digital element. We do not lead investigations, but provide specialized support to Canadian police agencies. In addition, the NC3's role is to provide coordination of cybercrime investigations in Canada. We work with partners internationally to combat a wide range of cybercrime incidents, with a focus predominantly on tech as target offenses. We provide investigational guidance and direction on these files, share up-to-date information such as current cyber threats, and provide access to cyber-related tools to assist police investigations. The divisional RCMP cybercrime coordinators work closely with the NC3 and act as a point of contact for any ongoing investigations and threats within their respective provinces. The Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre works closely with the NC3 and is responsible for collecting information on fraud and identity theft. The website has all kinds of information on scams, both past and present, and how to protect yourself. If you are a victim of fraud, you can go to their website and it'll explain how you can report it. We encourage anyone who has lost personal information or money resulting from cybercrime or fraud to contact their local police too. The RCMP Federal Policing Cyber Investigative Unit has a mandate that focuses on the most significant threats to Canada. Threats that target the federal government, Canada's critical infrastructure, attacks or compromise to Canadian institutions by groups acting on behalf of foreign states, and threats to key business assets with high economic impact. Under the Federal Policing Cybercrime Unit, there are cyber investigative teams. They mainly investigate technology as target offenses, such as hacking, botnets, malware. These teams are comprised of all categories of employees, so that means regular member investigators, civilian criminal investigators, both public service employees or civilian members. These teams are strategically located across Canada, Vancouver, Edmonton, Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal at the moment, and they can be deployed anywhere across Canada. Their operational investigative focus is mainly on things like malware developers and distributors, cybercrime infrastructure developers, and operators that facilitate cybercrime, financial network operators that facilitate the laundering of proceeds of cybercrime. And these investigations include work that leads to charges in Canada or a foreign jurisdiction, as well as strategic disruption options. We see a wide variety of cybercrime in Canada. Cybercrime involving malware can continue to be the most dominant type of activity seen at the NC3, with the vast majority of incidents being ransomware. This is where files are encrypted and a ransom payment demanded for access to those encrypted files, usually in the form of cryptocurrency. And the victims range from private businesses, government agencies, to individuals. The top 4 ransomware variants that the NC3 saw last year: Conti, Hive, Lockbit, and REvil or Revil. Chainalysis, a blockchain tracing firm, identified more than 600 million in crypto ransomware payments made in 2020 and 2021. And Conti is considered to be one of the most prolific ransomware groups. Law enforcement and the Government of Canada do not recommend paying a ransom to cybercriminals. One reason is because paying the ransom does not prevent re-victimization. We have seen double, triple, and even quadruple extortion techniques, and it's increasing in popularity. These techniques add another element to ransomware attacks, moving beyond the encryption by threatening the public release of stolen data, threatening DDoS attacks, or harassing customers, clients, or employees of the victim. The use of cryptocurrency continues to be a preferred method of payment by cybercriminals because it is protected by a form of encryption known as cryptography and relies on public and private keys to transfer value from one person to another. Cryptocurrency mixers are used to obscure illicit funds, making their traceability more challenging. And although used to purchase illegal goods and services, it is becoming more mainstream for legal purchases. I was recently at a dentist appointment and noted that they now accept cryptocurrency as a form of payment for dental services. And I think we're going to start seeing this more and more as time moves on. The data that you see here was obtained from the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre, and given that fraud is underreported, these trends suggest the impact to Canadians to be even greater. Current digital trends, including more personal information available online than ever before, a growing digital economy, and more time spent online working, shopping, socializing, means that cybercriminals have a target-rich environment to identify opportunities to defraud Canadians. You can see from this graph that cyber fraud is on the increase, and this is not likely news to any of you. We all know someone that has been a victim of cyber fraud or targeted in some way or fashion, or have experienced it ourselves. We've all seen the phishing emails, the text messages, the phone calls, and these can be very convincing and easily believable. The lures that cybercriminals and fraudsters use have evolved over time, and they tend to take advantage of the most attractive lure of the day. As we saw back in 2020 when we were all dealing with the impact of COVID, cybercriminals took full advantage of the uncertain times that we were all living in. With all this data and statistics, it's important to mention that it's only about 10 to 12% of victims that report cyber attacks. It can be extremely difficult for victims to come forward when they feel like they've been duped and feel a sense of responsibility that they ought to have known better, when in reality these types of crimes can happen to any of us at any time, no matter how careful we are. They can be very believable and appear credible. There were over $380 million in losses reported to the CAFC in 2021, and 73% of those were cyber-enabled frauds. Between April 2021 and June 2022, the NC3 received 450 ransomware requests for assistance from police agencies. Cybercriminals tend to target victims who are less likely to immediately report to law enforcement and more likely to pay the ransom, and all sectors have been affected. Services, information communication technology, individuals, manufacturing, health, finance, government, education, transportation. Reporting of cybercrime and fraud is key to combating cybercrime. As I mentioned, only a small percentage of cybercrime or frauds are reported to police in Canada, making it difficult for law enforcement to keep up with the ever-changing threat landscape. To make it easier for Canadians and businesses to report cybercrime and fraud, we are developing a new reporting system with the CAFC. The prototype for the National Cybercrime and Fraud Reporting System is live in beta version, currently receiving approximately 4% of all cybercrime and fraud reports, and the plan is to be fully operational in 2023. When fully implemented, the reporting system will be hosted on the CAFC's website for public reporting. Once fully in place, a victim or witness of a cybercrime or fraud will be able to use the system to report the crime online. The reporting system will help make links between reports across Canada and internationally, identify and prioritize reported threats, and coordinate investigations and law enforcement activities. And I wanted to mention some recent success stories. Operation Gold Dust was a Europol-led operation focused on one of the most prolific ransomware variants known as REvil or Revil. 7,000 worldwide ransomware infections, approximately €200 million of victim losses. The Canadian investigation was led by the Calgary Police Service, assisted by the NC3, RCMP Federal Policing, and other Canadian provincial and municipal partners. 5 international threat actors were arrested in November 2021, and information from the operation also contributed to the January 2022 arrest of 14 individuals linked to this ransomware crime group in Russia. Project CODA. These were Canadian-based ransomware attacks on businesses, government, and private personal data systems across North America. This led to parallel investigations by FBI and the Ontario Provincial Police, supported by the NC3 and Europol. The individual was responsible for numerous ransomware attacks affecting businesses, government agencies, and private individuals throughout Canada, as well as cyber-related offenses in the United States. And this project led to the arrest of an Ottawa man who was charged in 2021. Within the RCMP, there are many opportunities for a career in cyber. It's more than programming and coding. Roles range from regular member investigators, civilian investigators, digital forensics, and other public service support, such as program developers. We also have co-op placement for students, and we have had many of these students transition into full-time employment after graduation. I also wanted to mention that it is widely known that there is a significant human resource shortage and talent gap when it comes to cybersecurity and cyber defense, and this in itself is a serious threat concern. There are many cyber opportunities in all sectors, private, government, financial. I recently read an article saying that just to keep pace with the way things are going, we need about a 65% increase in capacity in cybersecurity and cyber defense. There is a misconception out there that people need to be really technical to work in cybersecurity, and people tend to shy away from this career type thinking they aren't tech savvy enough. But again, there are lots of opportunities in cyber defense. Consulting, cybersecurity and threat intelligence analysts, project management, researchers. It's so much more than the ones and the zeros. So I hope this was helpful to you. I am grateful to have had this opportunity to share this information with you. And I encourage you to visit our website for more information. Thank you and have a great day.